So it seems that there's an attack on video games yet again, and hilariously enough, Kotaku calls out New York Times on it, which is strange, but seriously, what are we back in 1993? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, the New York Times is worried that kids are playing too many video games. Seriously, the New York Times, even Kotaku, and they're activists themselves. Even Kotaku's actually coming out against the New York Times for a change. New York Times, let me remind people that they are the very same people that stated that Fortnite is turning children all right. You know, stating that it's a ground for white nationalist recruitment. Like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. And then, of course, you go all the way back to 1993 when the whole Mortal Kombat issue was going on. Does anybody remember whenever they were going after video games back then, saying that, oh, they're going to make your kids evil, they're going to do terrible things to your kids? And then, of course, Mortal Kombat, they felt like they had to censor the blood and the Nintendo version of it and make it green. It just seems like we're going all the way back in time. It's like history's repeating itself, and it's just absolutely absurd here. Ridiculous. We're going to take a look at all of this. The New York Times is worried kids are playing video games too much during the pandemic. What else are they supposed to do? They're being locked in their homes. What else are they supposed to do? I mean, they're not going to be able to go outside and play or go watch movies unless it's inside the house. I mean, seriously. Yesterday, the New York Times ran a story that focused on how kids are spending too much time playing video games and using their phones during the pandemic. Like I said, what else are they going to do? They're under lockdown. Where are they going to go? What else are they going to do for fun, right? I mean, people want to be able to escape the issues of reality, of the real world. They want to be able to do things that are going to be fun, and video games is that way to do it. That and being on the internet. That's what a lot of people are doing to be able to escape the problems of the real world. I mean, that's just what they've been doing. This seems strange considering how the world is falling apart and democracy is dying in front of our eyes. Oh my dear God, if I hear that statement again. It's a threat to our democracy. I hear it all the time. It's a union. But yeah, sure, let's consider the kids might be play too much Roblox. Too much Roblox. That's hilarious. The article, which ran on January 16th, quoted some experts and presented a lot of scary numbers about screen time. But it also glossed over the fact that video games and the internet have helped many people, kids and adults, stay connected and sane during this terrible time. Well, yeah, I mean, people want to be able to communicate with other people as well. That's another thing. They use the internet to be able to do that too. I mean, seriously, if people were not able to communicate with other people or be able to escape the problems of reality and what goes on all the time, yeah, people are going to be extremely stressed out. It's going to be horrible. I mean, could you imagine if this was going on back in, like, the 1800s? Oh, man, I can only imagine how bent up and frustrated everybody'd be having to be locked up in their homes with nothing to do. That would be frustrating, even more so than it is now. At least you have something to keep yourself occupied. The whole post is also oddly booking by a random small family that is currently struggling during this pandemic. Their son plays a lot of video games as a way to connect with his friends. His father and mother are concerned about how much time he spends in front of the screen, but also know it's one of the few ways he has to safely socialize while the pandemic runs wild across the world. This is a hard situation I imagine many parents around the globe are going through right now. But highlighting only kids and how much screen time they are using ignores that all of us, not just children and teens, are dealing with increased screen time and a lack of real human interaction. I'll say this. I don't agree with Kotaku on a lot of things. I really don't, especially their politics. But this article's... wow, I'm surprised they're actually hitting some points at least. Instead, the article goes on and on about how potentially unhealthy and dangerous all this screen time could be for kids, how kids need to disconnect more, how kids are playing too much Roblox. I mean, it's what people are doing though. They're jumping to it so they can actually have fun for a change. I mean, being cooped up isn't going to always be fun. What are you going to do when you're married and stressed? Tell your wife that you need to play Xbox? This is a quote included in the story from the mother as the son explains that after their dog died on New Year's Eve, he used games to take his mind off of the sadness. Wow, I mean, that people do what they can to cope, and yeah, I mean that's the way to cope. I mean, I feel bad for the kid on that one. It's presented as a negative, yet I can list numerous times when I and others used video games as a way to relieve stress or escape from a terrible day. And when you look back at like all the old articles or what the news would say about how video games create violence, actually I think that they help people not go through violence. In fact, as someone who was one of the people to grow up with video games. That was one of the things I grew up with was video games, comics, anime, manga. Those were things that I grew up with. Video games helped me through some very, very, very stressful times and prevented me from being violent. Just saying. Just saying. This isn't me trying to toss this mom under the bus. I can understand the frustration she and so many others are going through. The real question is why that frustration needed to be on the front page of the New York Times presented in an article that frames video games and the internet as dangerous, addictive things that are ruining our children and holding them captive. The article literally opens with a quote from the father about how he feels like he has failed his son because he plays video games and uses his phone. It's like something I would have seen in the 90s on some local news broadcast. Exactly. Exactly. With clips of kids playing NES in the background. Yeah, and I mean, that's, like I said, it's like we've gone back to the 90s, like 1993. It's crazy. And here's this article right here. Children's screen time has soared in the pandemic, alarming parents and researchers. And this is it right here. The day after New Year's, John Reichert, I probably butchered that, of Boulder, Colo, had a heated argument with his 14-year-old son, James. I failed you as a father, he told the boy despairingly. During the long months of lockdowns and shuttered schools, Mr. Reichert, like many parents, overlooked the vastly increasing time that his son was spending on video games and social media. Now James, who used to focus his free time on mountain biking and playing basketball, devotes nearly all of his leisure hours, about 40 a week, to Xbox and his phone. During their argument, he pleaded with his father not to restrict access, calling his phone his whole life. That was the tipping point. His whole life, said Mr. Richard, a technical administrator in the local sheriff's office. I'm not losing my son to this. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, just because the kid is playing Xbox and is on his phone doesn't mean that he's going to lose his son. I mean, he's trying to cope with things. He's trying to be able to communicate with others. Let me give you an example, okay? I'll get a little personal here. So, as everybody knows, or at least most of you watching this knows, my father passed away last year. One of the things that I did while I was taking a break from everything to try to cope with a lot of the issues that was going on with that, a lot of my depression during that time, was I was playing video games because it helped me escape the problems. What I was doing was I was playing video games, I was working on my dojin, I was also working on other art as well, and that was really what I was doing. And while you're being cooped up in your own home and you can't really go anywhere, well, I mean, you're going to need a stress reliever. And that's, for example, what I did during the time that I was gone. And I also watched VTubers because you talk about having a lot of fun with that. I mean, that did bring joy as well. But the point is that the internet was one of the things, as well as video gaming, that really helped me during that hard time for myself. And, with this kid, he's trying to just have social interactions. This doesn't mean that his life is ruined. It just means that he's trying to find a way to cope with everything, and he's trying to be able to socially communicate with his friends. There's nothing wrong with that, and that doesn't mean that video games are bad. I'm just saying. Are there reasons to be concerned about how much time we all spend online? Probably. Spending 12 hours glued to Twitter and doom scrolling the latest tragedy is presumably hurting me in ways I don't fully understand. Oh yeah, because, a lot of journalists like Kotaku, for example, what are they? They're all a bunch of Puritans who go screech about things that they don't like. I mean, we already knew this about Kotaku, as well as Polygon and a bunch of other game journalists. Yet, right now, things are different. The world is fighting a global pandemic that is killing thousands every day. Many of us are trapped inside, dealing with all the stress and boredom that brings throughout all of this as we continue to work to go to school, raise kids, and deal with hundreds of other problems. I don't have to tell you how hard life has become for many of us over the past checks calendar year. Holy shit. So, if you or your kids need to escape and want to play some Minecraft, and maybe you end up playing a few hours more than usual, don't worry about it. We're all relying on digital apps and services to stay connected and happy, binge some Netflix, have a Zoom hangout session with family and friends, or play some Call of Duty Warzone with your long-distance siblings. Life is hard enough right now. Don't beat yourself up for taking care of yourself or letting your kids have fun with their friends. And I mean, that's the whole thing, is that people are going to need ways to be able to escape their problems, to escape the confines of reality, and they do it by video games or the internet or forms of entertainment. That's the whole entire point. People find ways to cope, and people find ways to try to have fun during times like these, and that's what they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but, leave it to the New York Times to obviously not understand that and just try to attack video games. I mean, what do they expect people to do? That's my question here. What do they expect people to go out and do? I mean, it's ridiculous. Like I said, it's like 1993 all over again with the whole video games are evil. Oh, it's Satan worship. I mean, it's absurd. Goes to show the idiocy of journalists like the New York Times and why people don't care to listen to journalists, because they come up with stupid shit like this. I'm just saying. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, and this is why people do not listen to journalists. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. And make sure you are still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you are still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.